Timer.
Everybody ready?
Well, 58 seconds.
Oh,
Wow. She must be on island
like it.
time.
Okay, I got 11 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. You could mute your cell phones or shut them off. Becky, would you do roll call?
I sure will. Bob Olson,
Here.
Tom Kitson,
Present.
Jack Scroggstead,
Here.
Mike Copine,
Present.
Mike Zeman, Jim Sheeline, and Tom Wilson.
Here.
Thank you. We'll start with public attendees or whatever. Alice?
Good morning. I do have a couple of things that are on the agenda, but what I don't have on the agenda is a discussion regarding battery energy storage systems in Lee County. We're currently wrapped up the Stewart Creek hearing, and as part of their petition, they are requesting battery storage. So I wanted to clarify to the board that battery storage is permitted under the new state siting standards for wind and solar. However, standalone projects are not, and we currently have a moratorium in Lake County that would prevent a standalone battery storage project from coming in. So I just wanted to make that clarification, if anyone has any questions.
What would be an example of a standalone battery?
So like a 600 megawatt strictly battery storage, all containers, usually a larger parcel, multiple containers, larger scale. And it would be interconnected to the grid, but it wouldn't serve a specific project.
Okay. Any other questions? Got anything else, Alice?
Everything else is I
Okay.
think,
We'll
related to the agenda. Hey,
get
Bob.
there. We'll go through it. How's that?
I forgot Mike Book in roll call. Mike Book,
Here.
thank you.
All right. All here? I wondered that when he walked in or whatever. I was like, okay, we'll keep going. Sheriff? All right. No, Dean? Rob, got anything you want to share with us today?
Just like having Marvin Williams.
Let's wait till it's on the agenda and we'll tackle it then, okay? Well, yes.
Morning, everybody. Scott Reamer with Hexagon Energy. We're working on the Stewart Creek project. We're here to answer any questions that may come up that are not introducing new material. So if you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll just sit quietly back here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott. Paul?
My mic's not working, but the only thing I wanted to say was for all the board members, Mr. Wilson's team got my office completed. It looks very nice. Now I'm
Awesome. Nancy?
Just a reminder to get out and vote, so you can go downstairs. We're open 8:15 to 4:15 today, tomorrow, Monday, and then we're open up Saturday morning for early voting.
All right, thank you. We'll go down to approval of minutes, the previous board meeting. Is there any changes or corrections? If none, we're going to let them stand as read. Keep moving down to reports from committee chairs. Mr. Zeman.
Okay, Claims Committee met twice, February 21st. We logged in, did 46 claims on that day. And we met again on March 6th. We did 62 claims on that day. Nothing spectacular that needs to be reported to the committee. So that's my report.
All right. Questions for Mike? Thanks. We'll go to Jack Scroggstead. Mr. Scroggstead, County Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We met Tuesday. I thought we had a short meeting, but it still was 45 minutes, so. But a lot of the reports are in the agenda packet. There's just a couple things I want to highlight, a couple of items. In the zoning department, there was some hearings on some solar, And my understanding is we had several board members that attended some of those meetings. So I would applaud those board members for showing up and showing interest in being involved. Obviously, I can't count the ones that viewed all of it on the YouTube and whatnot. So that's great that people are going to those and checking those out. I wanted to bring up something with Nancy. I had an epiphany of things as I'm sitting there looking at stupid reels on my phone, because that's just kind of like some things I do nowadays. And I got to thinking about Nancy and the lack of election judges we have. And I thought about, it's too bad that we couldn't advertise the need for quality or people to be an election judge. And I got to thinking, and I ran it by her real quick, about doing a small little video asking about, the needs that we need for election judges. And maybe I would volunteer myself to go to the different polling places and maybe interview some of the election judges and say, hey, why did you volunteer? It's not volunteer, you get paid, but you're there all day. Why are you volunteering to be an election judge? And some of them might say, election integrity, I want to be involved, I want to help out. And I think if we started getting that message out to people, we put it on our social media or share it with a bunch of people, I think that we could, maybe not necessarily this election cycle, but come November, maybe reach out and get a couple more people to be involved in the election process. So again, this is just something I came up with later. We can talk about it later, but I just wanted to throw it out there right now. But other than that, that's all I have.
I totally agree with you. Jeremy, we're social media, are we up yet and going, or?
So our social media is not fully live, the county general. I have it created, and the reason why is because I was waiting until our archive system was up and running, which it is now. But, in talking with Mr. Scrogstad at our, county services board meeting or committee meeting was trying to make sure we came up with the proper post to move forward with. Again, this is going to be more of a public service, announcement, social media, not necessarily with some of the other aspects where some of the other departments may have, or, like the Dixon Police Department, where they have a really fun social media page. Ours is going to be a little bit different.
Sure. Any questions for Jack and his report? Thanks, Jack. Mr. Copine, Public Safety and Court Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Safety and Court Services met Tuesday, March 12th. Relatively short meeting. The department heads were present, gave their reports. Those who weren't submitted them. And there was not that much to highlight. We did have the report on the figures on collection of unpaid fines and a brief discussion on where the focus group stands as far as the activity there. And Jeremy, you want to make a comment on that?
Yeah, so we had met on Friday to kind of reinvigorate the abandoned properties, nuisance properties focus group. Alice and the zoning department joined us, as well as Sam and a few representatives from the health department. We brought our board members together, and we came together as a group to really refocus ourselves and understand which departments take on certain aspects of the procedural process during an abandoned properties complaint and or a nuisance property complaint. And that was kind of one of the main things. There was a little bit of a disconnect on who does what and how that process is supposed to play out. And so it was really nice to have everybody come together and discuss that. We've identified a handful of properties that were previously identified, but then created some priorities specifically with some of our bigger commercial properties and lots that are outstanding and out there throughout the county. We are working with a company that comes in and actually takes down larger commercial industrial properties and facilities and recycles them. So the goal with that is trying to eliminate or remove the majority of the costs of the county. This direction will happen. I mean, that will happen if we move in this direction with this contractor. waiting for him to come up and do a site visit on the larger facilities that we've identified. We were supposed to do that this week, but hopefully we could do that next week. And then once we identify that, yes, this is the process we're going to move forward with, it's going to then making sure that we have access to those lots and approvals to actually go forth and take those down. So it's going to be a little bit of a process. It's not going to be, hey, this guy wants to come in and knock it down tomorrow. There's still some legal procedures that we have to go through to make sure we have access and approvals. So it's actually been pretty great. We are going to continue to meet the Fridays before committee week with all the departments that I had identified earlier. So we are all on the same page and we're continuing to evolve what our process has been internally and making sure that we're efficiently identifying and working with residential and commercial owners to take on nuisance properties. So it was a good meeting.
Thanks, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
If anybody has any questions, you can ask them now, but I'll have to refer you to the reports that are on file in the packet. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
I got a question. You know, we have that grant for abandoned houses. When does that have to be used up in? And have we used any of them money?
We have not used any of it yet, so that's in partnership with the city of Dixon. We have $75,000 for the county. It's only for residential, single family. You know, there is a little caveat in there that says we could use it for up to a 6-unit apartment that cannot be over 2 stories. $75,000 is not going to go very far. Working with LCIDA and City Hall, Dixon City Hall, to identify their properties that they want to take down. And then we're working with some folks from Franklin Grove, Amboy, and you know, a handful of other villages to make sure that we are at least trying to identify and hopefully utilize our 75 for at least 2 to 3 residential properties that need to be taken care of.
When is that time frame up with that grant? Because we'd like to reapply.
2026.
All right.
So right now, all the funding's up. I mean, so we won't be able to reapply until a next round comes out. It's going to be a few years.
Sure.
So hopefully the goal is with and it's called the Strong Communities Grant, is to make sure that we're prioritizing the residential properties. And the goal with that grant is then to remove the abandoned or nuisance property or hazard property, and either create a green space for public space or reuse as residential. And I think our goal is we understand that there's a housing need throughout the county and the entire region. So we would prefer to see if we could identify the properties that we could then clean up and create new residential homes.
And we're looking at the tax sale properties as they come up too.
Correct.
And quantifying them. And
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, we do still have funds available through the ARPA money that was.
Sure. Yep. All right. Any more questions or comments? I guess I need to show up at one of the meetings. Maybe I'll learn some more. Huh? All right. We'll go down to, thanks, Mike. We'll go to Mr. Wilson for facilities maintenance and elevators.
Elevators?
Yep.
Yeah, so a few highlights of the meeting. The maintenance group did a great job on the treasurer's office. It came in the time frame we talked about, and I encourage everybody to go down and take a look at it. It turned out real nice. We met with Allied Partnership. We're getting drawings back for the grand jury courtroom and the offices for the judges. We're supposed to have that tomorrow or Monday, and then we're going to get with Judge Ackert and go over some of the technology things that we need to do in the new grand jury courtroom. The county did receive, or Judge Ackert asked for Charlie, I don't know what it was, 1.6 million or 1.2 million or 1.1?
1.016.
And we received what?
Oh, we requested 1.05. We got 1.016. Yes.
Yeah, we applied for over $1 million. We got $50,000 less. So we have a technology grant that's going to update all of our courtrooms in the new courts building to having monitors at every stand for the attorneys, the judges, televisions, cameras, badges, and all that type of thing. So that was a really good thing for the county, and we're working towards implementing that in the grand jury courtroom. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, the elevator. is going to be starting next week. They couldn't get a crane here this week. We're not holding our breath, but we're expecting to start the first part of next week. So with that being said, with our board, with our meeting coming up on Thursday, we will not stop them from starting on a specific day because once they get here, we'll be finished in a month, or I think it's 4 to 6 weeks. But Jeremy, you want to talk about what we're going to do with, or what we're possibly going to do with the?
Yeah, so, we had assumed that, or thought they were going to be here this week, so it was going to be a little bit of a trial run with us hosting a committee meeting, still public, here in this facility, and having maybe like a Zoom setup downstairs in the assessor's conference room office that's still public access. Typically, we figured that would be okay during committee week because there's not usually as much of a public attendance. But for our county board meeting next week on the 21st, we're going to look at moving it over to the EOC, over, in that facility and
at this point, we don't know as to, are they going to have the elevator torn apart by Thursday of next week? So it's kind of, we're playing, we're going to find out Monday if they show up, and then we're going to find out what they're actually doing.
Right.
So it'll be a last minute decision, I'm sure, but we are preparing ourselves to move across the street just in
Exactly.
case.
Yeah, so before we have to post the agenda on Tuesday, we're going to make that decision.
Going to have that decision by Tuesday, and then be nice to be on social media and even the paper or radio or something. If
Right.
We're going to change.
And we'll make sure that it's out there.
All right.
Then I would say we just make the change before even knowing if they're going to be here, because I wouldn't know they're going to mobilize, but I don't know how much work they're going to start. So I would tell you that would be a tough thing to prepare for.
Yeah, and Jeff, I know you don't have a microphone in front of you, maybe you could snag Clay's, but do you happen to know, have you had contact with them at all this week on next week?
Yeah, it sounds like they'll be here Monday, and I think they're going to shut the elevator down on Monday as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, then we'll just plan for moving across the street, and then we can get everything posted, and we'll have to work with IT and Kevin and make sure we're set up. Are you guys in there at all anymore? No? Okay, perfect.
Okay, then the only other thing, we're also in the middle of the project over at the state's attorney's office getting carpeting put in. Our guys have been working with Boss Carpet One and Charlie's group, and everything sounds like it's going really, really good. And they're knocking things out, and we're hopefully going to be done in the middle part of next week. So
Yeah, it's
that'll be
looking really good
another
over there.
project that'll be completed.
Yeah, it's looking really good over there. Jeff and his team have done a great job moving us in and out, and it's been pretty seamless.
Good. So that's all I've got for my report.
Any questions for Tom? Thanks, Tom. We'll go to finance. Mr. Book.
Yeah, we met this morning, 9 o'clock. There's not a lot that we had to discuss. A couple things, the technology grant, which we already talked about, and then I think a squad for a couple communities, and I think that's something that's on our agenda here as well to discuss. So, or it's not on our agenda. I don't know. We're going to discuss it, something like that. Anyway, that's all I got.
Any questions? Did anything else come out of finance that we need to put on the agenda? I think that's about everything. I always ask that every, nothing else on finance that we need to have on the agenda for next Thursday?
Just the
Just squad. Yep. Okay. Any questions? Thanks, Mike. All right, we'll move down to administrative report. Jeremy, do you got anything?
Yeah, just a couple highlights. Just a reminder, and I forgot to mention this at the finance committee meeting. We did receive notification that the DCEO tuck pointing grant, we did get approval for the $245,098.14. Check should actually be in the mail, and hopefully receiving that. And that was, we've been holding off for quite some time.
I want to thank Greg Gates for.
Yeah, I was just about to do that. I'm looking right back at him. So Greg, was very helpful in that process and in tracking all that, creating the reports and helping us get that shipped off.
Absolutely.
So thanks, Greg. Thumbs up. All right. Next, broadband breakthrough. Just a reminder, we are working with the Illinois Soybean Association, Benton Institute of Technology and Broadband, as well as U of I Extension and some other partners. So the county is joined this initiative. There's over $1 billion of broadband infrastructure that's being dispersed throughout the state over the next year or two. We want to try to make sure that we're in position to hopefully capture some of that. With that, we joined a 6-county cohort to create essentially a broadband strategy and plan for our own county on what that is going to look like, really identify the infrastructure needs, talk to broadband and fiber partners, and make sure that we have a strategy to move forward and hopefully get involved and put an application once these grants open up to hopefully access some infrastructure dollars. So we've met about 3 times so far, and we are right now building a community county-wide survey that we are going to mail out, as well as have it online in different avenues of media to make sure that we're trying to get the data from the underserved individuals throughout the county. So then we could have, better data within our own strategy and application process. So that's pretty exciting. I did want to note that, last month, Congressman LaHood was going around the district and had a stop in Lee County, on February 27th. And that was, I know he was at the City Hall talking with KSB individuals, other entities, and came here to the county, and we just had a fantastic meeting. So I wanted to, thank the Congressman, his team, and everybody that was from our team that joined that. I think we're already seeing some effects from that meeting, coming to fruition. So it's pretty exciting. As mentioned earlier, again, the board meeting next week, I think we just made that decision. We're going to go ahead and move that across the street and get that set up. And just so everybody knows, on the executive team, that any insurance administrative pieces right now is actually going through my office. So if you happen to be working with any employee throughout the county and they're needing any sort of life change or insurance change, beneficiary change, right now I'm taking care of that until we come up with a proper plan on how we're going to work through some of the HR procedures in the future. Any questions?
No questions? You asked me about an HR firm,
AIM.
For using other things, and totally we used them in the past, and I think they're.
Yeah, so in the past, I know there was a relationship with a consultant called Sikich that the county had. There was also a relationship with AIM, which is another program in an organization. Again, it's more of a consultant basis. I actually did meet with a gentleman as well that helped the city out a handful of years ago for consulting scenarios. And the thing is right now is there's pieces of HR that we do need assistance with as we look towards developing a more professional HR staff member in the future. And that's something more full-time. But in the meantime, we need to have a stopgap, and that's what I'm trying to accomplish here.
We discussed it last week or this week, and it's in our budget, so we're going to go ahead and I think it's $4,000.
Yeah, $4,000 for partnering with AIM, and that's really just to make sure that we're in compliance with a handful of
I think
things.
it's money well spent with everything we got going on. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention.
Thanks.
Anything else? Sounds good. Thanks, Jeremy. I have nothing under old business. We'll go to new business. We got the lots, Reagan Mass Transit Asset Transfer Agreement. Mr. Lesage, you want to walk us through that?
Bob, thank you, board members. You may remember all the way back in November of 2022, both Lee County and Ogle County passed a memorandum of understanding. And that memorandum of understanding deals with the creation of the Reagan Mass Transit District and the transfer of the assets of lots, which are of course owned by Lee County, to the Mass Transit District. Since that time, we've created the Reagan Mass Transit District. Both Lee County and Ogle County boards have appointed their board members. And we've been working with IDOT and the board in order to have that entity ready to roll when we complete the transfer of assets. As part of the memorandum of understanding, it called for this agreement that's on your agenda today. And we call it an asset transfer agreement because that's exactly what it is. It's a transfer of the vehicles, the facilities, and all of the property of lots to the Reagan Mass Transit District. And that will allow it, upon completion of the funding from IDOT, which we expect to occur on July 1st of this year, to operate in substantially the same manner that it's being operated today. The asset transfer agreement, it has taken a long time to get us to this point. We've worked with Charlie and Brian Brim from the State's Attorney's Office. We've had input from IDOT. The agreement has been reviewed by Mike Rock, who's the Ogle County State's Attorney. This past Tuesday, the Ogle County Executive Board passed the agreement unanimously. That will be considered by Ogle County, I think, on next Wednesday. So what we're hoping to do is get the approval from the exec committee today to send it to your full board. And once, hopefully, we get those approvals, Charlie, myself, and Brian will be hustling like crazy to get the transfer of assets completed by the end of June. And again, the funding request from IDOT, they're going through their budget process right now. They've included the Reagan Mass Transit District. And the expectation is that on July 1st, it's running under that new flag. Any questions?
I've got none. Any questions for Rob?
I still have Greg here in case there's any questions.
Any questions for him? Charlie, you got anything you want to add to that?
No, I think Rob covered that pretty well there. It's been a long time coming, like he said, since 2022. We've been working on this and we're almost there.
Looks like we're on schedule to meet our deadline. I take it.
Indeed.
All right, thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
I'd entertain a motion to move this to our regular, the county board agenda. Gibson moves, Wilson seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Thanks, Rob. We'll go down to the new squad purchase. It's discussion only. We cannot vote on it. It wasn't on our agenda in time. I guess I'll ask the sheriff if he wants to explain to us what we're doing here.
Sure. We recently entered into talks with the villages of Franklin Grove and Ashton as far as covering law enforcement services for the municipalities. Ashton has been without a police officer for about 3 years now. And Franklin Grove's chief retired a couple months ago. So basically, we've been providing the service for them in the absence of those officers. They were agreeable. They took it to, well, we had initial talks and they took it to their county or village boards and both of them passed that they did want to enter into a contract with the sheriff's office for law enforcement services. As part of that contract or part of the pricing that was put forward, we're on a 4-year squad car rotation. So they would have to purchase a new squad car. This will basically be an outlay of cash by the county that will be reimbursed to the county by the villages of Ashton and Franklin Grove. And currently, we have a squad car where we purchase from our vendor. He has one on a lot and it's available to purchase immediately. So this would fulfill that need.
If everybody agrees, Ashton, Franklin, we get the squad car, when do you see this taking place?
They're ready to go with the contract. I currently have the Pawpaw contract that I'm working on amending to suit the village of Ashton and Franklin Grove. Once I make the appropriate amendments, I will forward it to Charlie for him to review and take a look at. And then once he gives a thumbs up, we'll send it to those municipalities and their attorneys. So we'd like to do it within the next 60 days. So yeah, time's of the essence for the squad car.
All right. Everybody understand what we're doing? We can't vote on it. I'm going to move it to the agenda. But if there's any hesitant, I'd like to hear about it. If Mike, you got something you want?
Well, I'm just wondering if this would require another deputy hire.
It does. Yeah, actually, it
Full-time,
does.
part-time?
That's, yeah, the squad car is just a part of the contract. Yes, they are going to be paying for another deputy position, correct? And they're going to split the number of hours of law enforcement services provided to the village. We're going to do 20 hours to Franklin Grove and then 20 hours to
Yeah,
Ashton.
okay,
No,
I'll just handed this.
but yeah, but the sheriff's figured everything in there, the third year, what is it again? He's got the deputy, the insurance.
Oh, yes, Social Security, IMRF, the county's contribution for single-family coverage, what they would pay.
Only a few things we won't get reimbursed for would be uniforms, what else? Cameras. And
We would
probably a
absorb
weapon.
the body camera, the additional body camera, but we've already got the backbone in place for the docking stations and the software, so.
Will one or both of the villages provide like an office like Pawpaw used to have?
Pawpaw still has an office. That did not come up in the discussion since, they're only 13 miles, Franklin Grove is
Right,
only
right.
13 miles away, and then, Ashton's another couple miles, so. Anymore, they do most of their work out of the squad cars as it is.
Right.
Everybody's got laptops and printers in their vehicles, so they're able to basically function out of their vehicles.
Well, as far as I know from Pawpaw, it's worked out well over the last,
About,
20
that was a 5-year contract that is up November 30th of this year. So we'll have to go back and renegotiate with them.
okay.
But yeah, I believe Ashton and Franklin Grove both talked with Pawpaw, and they were very happy with the services that we
Yeah.
provided thus far.
Very good. Thank you.
I'll make sure Becky gets more information out before next Thursday in our board packet with what we have there. Yeah, I'll show you this. It breaks it down on this letter. Maybe Clay wants something different, but I just want to give something to break it down for the board members.
I can. I have one that's not folded, so yeah.
Just a reminder, Clay didn't, present them with a finalized contract yet. This is just, the Ashton and Franklin approved continuing to move forward with discussions because they want the services. And the hiring of a new deputy is not going to be a dedicated deputy just to Ashton and Franklin. They won't be in office there. There's going to be a schedule of rotation. So it's a great thing. We continue to build our services throughout the county. It's a need, and we're able to offset some costs with this. So it's a really positive impact on our public safety services throughout the county.
I think it's 20 hours for each community, correct?
Correct.
And, all right, we'll try to get some more details, get out there. And you did mention the cost with both communities, all right?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
they got that very same document as far as the breakdown.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. We'll keep moving forward to see the revisions to the zoning and building permit fee resolution. This is for discussion only. Alice?
Yes. This got overlooked on Tuesday for county services, and so it's been carried over here for discussion. Still kind of learning the process, so I have submitted a updated building permit form and fee schedule. Apparently, you don't need to approve the building permit form, but you would need to approve the fee schedule change. But in the interest of keeping the board informed, we are seeking to update our current building permit so that if a landowner desires to develop an area located in the floodplain, they will need to complete a floodplain permit in addition to their Lee County building permit to ensure Lee County remains compliant with the requirements of the National Floodplain Insurance Program. We are also going to add a maximum height of the structure field on that form as well. On the fee structure side, we are including a fee for transmission line poles and for energy storage within our existing fee structure. And those are highlighted in the exhibit. Any questions?
And this come through committee, right?
So it got overlooked Tuesday, so it did not go through county services, my understanding, and it has been moved over to executive for discussion.
Is it time sensitive? Do we need to do it this month, or is there any questions?
No. It's my understanding I can move forward with the permit, the form changes to the building permit, but as far as the fees, if it's not approved until next month, that wouldn't be an issue either.
I know you had some out there, but really that's the changes aren't that. What do you think, Jack, at your committee?
No, the changes are minimal, you know, it's, like I said, like she said, it got missed on the agenda. We didn't get to talk about it. So I asked if we could at least, you know, have it here to talk about it as well. Again, it was still too early to really vote on it here as well. But, you know, if we could put it on the county board and maybe just have an open debate there if need be.
Any hesitation with the committee about putting that on the full board? All right, we'll keep moving on. Thanks, Alice. Now we'll go down to appointments, I guess. There's a resolution. Is there a motion to approve the resolution of reappointing John Beveridge to the Housing Authority to the March County Board agenda? Mr. Kitson moves. Mr. Wilson seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. At the raffle reports, we got Walton Fest raffle report for February, Walton Fest for March, Farmer and Heritage raffle report, and the Rosebrook Community raffle report. I need a motion to, is there a motion to put these on file with the county? Mr. Skogstad moves. Mr. Copine seconds. Any discussion? I don't know what the Farming Heritage raffle is. Anybody aware of that?
Bob, that was Franklin Grove
Oh, yeah.
Heritage.
Yep. Okay,
Days.
sorry. Any other
It's just,
questions?
yeah, it's just late.
Any other questions or comments? We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There's a review, you got their per diem report for county board approval. It's for information only. Everybody get a chance to look at it. I have no executive session today. We'll keep moving on to the agenda part of our meeting. So setting up the agenda, the basic, we got the call to order, pledge allegiance, invocation, the roll call. Board chair announcements, we got Shelley Dallas's 25-year acknowledgement. Approval of board minutes. We got the Joseph Meyer resolutions. I don't think we have any. Zoning and planning, we've got petition going to the Zoning Board of Appeals from Irish Ice Farms regarding pins 16-01-13-100-001 and 16-01-14-200-003. That's in Palmyra Township. That's going through. Petitions going to the Planning Commission. We've got one. Petitions coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. I don't know if I understand this. We got, I guess, two petitions. Stewart Creek. It's coming from the ZBA. I better read these off. We got petition number 23-P-1617 by Stewart Creek Solar. The pen is attached. And we got the resolution for 23-P-1617. Same one?
Correct.
All right. Yeah, I wonder what the, one's a petition, one's a resolution, or how does that work? Okay. All right. Sorry. I've got no petitions coming from the Planning Commission. We'll have the administrative monthly update and board member comments, public comments, county organization presentations and updates. Of course, our reports of committees, unfinished business, ordinance amending administrative impound fee. We held that over from February. Under new business, we've got the appropriation resolution for county matching funds. We got the resolution establishing the Class 2 truck route. Joint funding agreement for the state participation. Certificate of authority. We've got the lots, Reagan Mass Transit asset transfer agreement. I'm going to put on the new squad car purchase. And I'll also put on the revisions to the zoning and building permit fees. Resolution, what's that? Okay. All right. So we're good? All right. All right, on appointments, we got the John Beveridge that we just agreed to, reappointment to the Housing Authority, executive session, approval of county officers' reports, quarterly treasury reports, the roll call of approval of monthly revenue reports, claims paid vacation, and payroll paid, and approve the board member mileage and per diem. The county adjournment for the meeting. And I need a motion to approve this county board agenda. Mr. Wilson moves, Mr. Kitson seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I need a motion to adjourn the executive meeting. Mr. Cobain moves, Mr. Kitson seconds it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.